This right here is the Sonos Roam. It's a Bluetooth and Wi-Fi speaker. It sounds good and is super competitive considering its price tag of $170. But portable Bluetooth speakers have been around for a while now. What makes this one in particular stand out? Well, let's find out with a little review. Straight out of the box, you have the Sonos Roam itself, a USB Type-C cable that is angled, and a quick setup guide. Beyond that, the speaker comes in white or black. The front has a hard-feeling mesh speaker grille with the raised text of the Sonos name labeled on the front, which, by the way, I just found out recently, if flipped upside down, still spells out Sonos. Now, I'm not saying I'm dumb, but it sure seems like it. The back is hard-touch plastic with a USB Type-C port and power button. If you sit the Sonos Roam on a table with a regular USB-C cable, it bends the cable. But the cable that came in the box is angled and doesn't have this problem. The bottom is also hard-touch plastic with 4 tiny little dots for rubber feet, and the sides are soft-touch plastic. One side has your standard volume controls, volume up, volume down, a mic button for the smart assistant, and a play-pause button that is also used to skip and go back a track. The other side is completely empty, but can be used to stand the speaker up or to wirelessly charge the Sonos Roam with a standard wireless charger, or you can pay $50 for Sonos's magnetic wireless charger that I was too cheap to purchase. I personally would not go that route, but you do you. The speaker itself is small enough to grip with your hand and is about as wide as a standard plastic American water bottle, but a bit shorter. So you can definitely fit this in your car's cup holder for whatever reason, and it's also IP67 water resistant, making it an okay option to sit next to that water bottle just in case it spills onto it. Now let's talk about my experience using the Sonos Roam. Setting it up is super easy. Turn it on by pressing the power button, download the Sonos app, press setup product, and done. If you want to set up Bluetooth on the Roam, you can hold the power button until you hear a beep, then let the button go. Now, when you see the blue blinking light, it's in pairing mode. Honestly though, Bluetooth is nice. It treats the Sonos Roam pretty much like any other Bluetooth speaker, but what stands out about the Sonos Roam is its Wi-Fi capabilities. It can get software updates, be paired with another Sonos Roam for stereo sound. If you have 2 of the Sonos Roam, you can pair them with a Sonos soundbar to be used as side speakers for a surround sound setup, and it can also be grouped with other Sonos speakers to play music in sync, even if they're in different rooms. It also allows you to switch to different Sonos devices using the Sonos app. The one thing that the Roam lacks compared to other portable speakers in this category is headphone jack, but it makes up for that through some other interesting features. There's one that lets you transfer the music coming out of the Roam to different Sonos devices under your account by holding down the play pause button for 4 seconds near a different group of Sonos speakers. I find this feature super useful when I'm listening to podcasts or want to change up where the music is playing. Though to be 100% fair, that feature is kind of limited. Music from Spotify moves over just perfectly fine, but if you had a YouTube video playing, like one of mine, you can't just switch the audio over. It just doesn't work that way. But it does have AirPlay 2 support, so it's easy to just send audio over to the Roam from an iPhone. But the unsmart thing about the Roam is that it doesn't have Google Casting features. But the Sonos Roam does have built-in smart assistant functionality. You can set it up using either Amazon or the Google Assistant. I personally have mine set up as a Google Assistant, and what happens is then the Google Home app will treat it pretty much like any Google Home speaker type product. The only difference, however, is that you can't group it with other smart speakers on the Google Home app. You can only pair it with other Sonos speakers in the Sonos app. It shows up as a speaker on the Google Home app, but there's no way to pair it to anything other than other Sonos devices. I wish I could say more about how it works with Amazon Alexa, but I personally don't use Amazon Alexa. Sorry, Big Daddy Bezos. But keep in mind, if you've used the Sonos Roam outside of Wi-Fi range, obviously the smart assistant won't work because it requires Wi-Fi. The Roam itself advertises a battery life of up to 10 hours, and I get around 7.5 hours at around 70% volume uninterrupted. Meaning I just let it sit there and play music constantly for 7.5 hours before it dies. But if you do other things like use the voice assistant, or you're constantly changing volumes or rapidly skipping songs because you're not feeling in the mood for that one specific track at that one specific time, all those things may impact battery life. So let's talk about how it sounds. Full disclosure here, I'm no audiophile and rely primarily on my own ears. I'm not trying to give you hard graphs about given frequencies. There's great websites and other YouTube channels that can do a much better job on that than I can. I'm here to give you a regular person's perspective on this. So that being said, how does it sound? Given its size, it had more bass than I expected. The bass doesn't drown everything else out, and I can clearly hear the mids and highs. Personally, think it sounds pretty good, and it sounds decently full given its small size. Now, at this point, please put on some headphones or earbuds and potentially turn the volume down. I don't want to bust everyone's eardrums. That would be a lawsuit waiting to happen that I just can't afford. This really isn't a perfect test. If you're really wondering how it's supposed to sound, I would find a place that has the device on display, but hopefully this would give you a general idea of how it sounds. After all, there's no perfect way to do it over a YouTube video. Well, let's start that. Now that you're done listening to it, let's talk about some alternatives to the Sonos Roam. To be honest with you, I had some trouble figuring out some good alternatives because it seemed like there were very few Bluetooth speakers with smart home functionality. The only ones I could think of on the spot is the Sonos Move and Bose portable smart speaker. While those Bluetooth speakers are much nicer and sound significantly better, they're also both significantly larger and cost twice as much. Many other portable Bluetooth speakers in the price range of the Sonos Roam lack smart home features and Wi-Fi, meaning it's good for music and maybe use your phone's smart assistant features, but they don't normally have their own. On the other hand, smart speakers like the Amazon Echo line or Google Nest line have to be plugged in to be used. But with the Roam, Sonos kind of said, why not both? And shove the best of those features into a singular device. All right, how do I personally feel about the Sonos Roam? Well, I think it's one of the more versatile smart speakers out there at this price. It can be used as a portable Bluetooth speaker for those days you spend outside, or it can be used as a smart speaker in your living space, like a bedroom. It's Sonos's cheapest speaker if you don't count the collaborations they had with IKEA, and it's also surprisingly the most functional with all of its features. Of course, it's smaller and doesn't sound as good as those Sonos speakers, like the slightly beefier and pricier Sonos One, but it sounds good enough for what it is: a versatile, small, and portable smart Bluetooth speaker. There's not too many portable speakers with a feature set as packed as this one, and definitely not at this price point either. It's surprisingly, at least to me, a good value if you're interested in a smart speaker. And if you wanted a good reason to start trying out the Sonos ecosystem of audio products, I'd start at this one right here, just to dip your toes a little bit. Anyway, what do you personally think? Are you considering one of these now? Or did this push you away from the... I always mess up these outros. 1 second. And if you wanted a good reason to start trying out the Sonos ecosystem of audio products, I'd start at this one right here to dip your toes a little bit. Anyway, what do you personally think? Are you considering one of these now? Or did this video push you away from the Sonos Roam? Is the Sonos Roam more tempting than the Sonos One? Or is there another speaker you're looking at? Let me know in the comment section below. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a like and don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you all next time. Bye.